Hi, this is the video for Daf Shvui, for Daf Kaf zayin of Masechet Megillah. And I wanted to address here a question that was actually asked a little bit ago by one of our participants about can you sell a Sefer Torah that's worn out in order to buy a new Sefer Torah, which is the question that is addressed towards the beginning of this page. Ibai lehu. The question was asked, in Kor Sefer Torah Yashan, Likach Bo Chadash. Can you sell an older Sefer Torah to buy a new Sefer Torah? And the Gemara isolates the question in the middle. It goes through a whole bunch of proofs. Later on, it comes up with the statement towards the middle of it, Tashma. This is sort of towards the bottom third of the page on Kaf zayin, if you're following along in the regular Gemara. Damar Rabba bar bar Chana, Amar Rabbi Yochanan. Rabbi bar Chana said in the name of Rabbi Yochanan, in the name of Rabbi Shimon ben Gamliel, Lo yimkor Adam Sefer Torah Yashan, Nikach Bo Chadash. One shouldn't sell an older Sefer Torah in order to buy a new Sefer Torah. So that sounds 100% clear. You shouldn't sell an older Sefer Torah, one that's worn out, no longer usable, in order to buy a new Sefer Torah, even though that one will be something that a person could use in the Beit Knesset, in the synagogue. However, the Gemara rejects that understanding, or at least rejects the absolute understanding of the statement in that way. It says, Hata mishum pshiuta. That was in the case where we're afraid that somebody is going to be negligent. Because what are we afraid of? We're afraid that somebody is going to sell a Sefer Torah, put aside the money, intend to use it to buy a newer Sefer Torah, to pay for the production of a newer Sefer Torah. But then what's going to happen? The money will get used to something else, as often happens when funds are raised for a specific purpose, and won't go for the holy purpose it was supposed to go for buying a new Sefer Torah. But the question is, what then becomes, what if you have a new Sefer Torah? Let's say I have a scribe who's already written a Sefer Torah, and I want to pay him to buy from him the Sefer Torah. Can I use the proceeds from the older Sefer Torah to buy the newer Sefer Torah? Now, interestingly, the Gemara never really answers this question. It's one of these questions that just ends with all of the proofs saying that you can or cannot sell an old Sefer Torah to buy a new Sefer Torah. All of those proofs are rejected as proofs either for this way or for that way, which leaves Rishonim, the post-Talmudic commentators, in a dilemma that they're often faced with. How do we rule in cases where we do not have a clear halacha? And the answer over here is complicated. For the most part, most Rishonim use the following rule. When we don't have a clear answer in the Gemara, we have to act stringently, because acting stringently sort of obeys, in a sense, both opinions, because one can always refrain from doing the action. So most Rishonim say that over here you should not sell an older Sefer Torah in order to buy a new Sefer Torah. And generally speaking, that is the way that the Shulchan Aruch, the Rambam, all rule. However, there are some Rishonim who either say, look, in this case, one can actually sell an older Sefer Torah to buy a new one. Alternatively, they say, look, we're going to follow that small piece that I explained and say, look, you can't sell a Sefer Torah, put aside the money, and use it to buy a new Sefer Torah. But what one can do is sell the Sefer Torah and use it immediately to buy a new Sefer Torah that has already been written, because in that case, we're not concerned with the issue of negligence. I'm sure this is an issue that comes up in the synagogue. It would seem that, first of all, I don't know what a market there is these days for a used, worn-out, old Sifrei Torah. That is a question of itself. It seems probably more efficient to repair them. So I don't know how practically important this question is, but theoretically, the Kedusha of a Sefer Torah remains even after it's worn out, and therefore it can't be sold for anything except for something of a higher Kedusha, which, as we saw, was to learn Torah or marriage. However, in a case of great need, there may be some way of following some kind of leniency to at least get some money out of the older Sefer Torah so that one could buy a new, already existent Sefer Torah.